great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. Top of the morning to your world out here with Tyler Davis.
GT.
Yeah, man.
Back in the saddle.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good. It's a good place to be.
It is. We obviously like expanding on information, bringing new content, kind of maybe shaping some minds.
Yes.
As we shape our own, this whole, I guess it's a journey of self-discovery, it is what we're going to talk about. But being self-aware is a journey in itself, and finding out who you are and what you're about and everything that comes with that.
Man.
It's what we're going to expand on. And
so much to unpack on that.
But it's one thing at a time.
Definitely is. It's slow down to speed up is something that we say often. But, man, since we have started developing this content and doing this, I've found myself catching myself so much more often. And I don't know if that's because I'm becoming more aware of it. It's in the forefront of my mind. It's the constant unpacking of this.
It is.
I caught myself trying to be in a rush. But like what you just said, it's like, man, you can't rush this process.
No, it's, we are served well to remember that, we're on a journey, not a destination. We start thinking about, did we arrive yet? Did we arrive yet? Do we arrive yet? All you think about is, the outcome.
Yeah, man, you climbing Mount Everest. There's a reason that there's a base station. There's a first camp, second. Well, and it's one step at a time.
It should start with a love of hiking.
But
then see where you go from there, right? I mean, just one foot in front of the other, like a lot of the stuff we're sitting here talking about, and then you make me think of something. It's like if it's not like a Goliath type scenario, people aren't motivated enough to even tackle it,
Yeah.
But then they do these Goliath like type scenarios and then wonder why they start and stop. Find something that you're falling in love with on the discovery process. So hopefully we can help people get there a little bit today, with 3 ways to discover who you are. So how do we get there? How do we do that? How do we start the unpacking, right? Well, you know where you're at, right?
Yes.
You may or may not like that or have wavering opinions about certain things,
Yes.
Like, hey, and that usually starts when you start drawing comparisons,
Right.
Whether that's healthy or not, but we're going to dive into that. So how do you discover who you are? Where do you begin? And that feels like a Goliath thing, right?
Point
in the
of
beginning,
entry. Yeah.
right. For me, it was really early, looking inward. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was seeking solace. I found solace with information.
Yeah.
With understanding, like, hey, is this really me? Or what is this? What is this? Before I say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I'm about. Is this really me? Right. Is this a learned thing? Does it really copacetic with where I want to be now? Does it serve me like it used to?
Right. Does it really get you excited?
Right.
Like ignite that fire.
Well, even when we defend things, it's autopilot. Is that really us? Do we really feel that strongly about that? The same argument that you made for decades, or even 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. We're served well to kind of check ourselves. We're like, hey, are we still in alignment with that?
Right. Does that still serve who we are projecting to be? Like who we want to be?
Man, I like what you said there, though, the projection part, because I think we spend more time projecting than being.
Well,
and that's kind of what we're talking about, help people realize today, too, is like, what's a projection and what is it really who you are? What is the essence of what you're about, right?
Yeah, it's when was the last time you took a look at what your authentic self really values and is? Like, who are you really? I know that's a deep question, but...
You got me a new hashtag thing, like a new slash mark and something to keep track of. Am I projecting? Yeah. That's all you have to ask yourself. Is this really what I'm about? Or am I projecting what I think I want people to see me as? Which is that whole perception loop thing.
Yes.
But the fact that came up the way that it did tells us like how, interwoven that is with the way we think and from the human condition standpoint.
Right. As you said to me earlier, it's like it's not a Tyler thing. It's not a Greg thing. This is a human condition.
Yes.
So, don't allow yourself to fall into that. But
exactly.
Some of these questions that we're talking about today, you do need to still ask yourself.
Right, which we're going to dive into that, too. So, hey, let's get into this before we start rocking. We'll be on this thing for an hour. Number 1, on your tombstone. What would be on your tombstone? Okay? We don't want to think about, the mortality factor there,
Sure.
but we're gonna die. Okay,
Well, right.
What were you about?
Yeah, man. What's the
What are
legacy?
they saying? Yeah, what's someone's getting up and they're giving like a eulogy. What are they saying?
Yeah, man. That's something to definitely think about.
What we're talking about? What are your values?
Yeah, man.
I listen to some content, and I'm like, man, when's the last time you really just sat down and wrote out and thought about what you're about?
Yeah.
What am I really about? Like I got everybody there that cares about me. What are they saying?
Right.
And then, do you like it?
Yes. Because a big thing of that is the projection that you put out through your life, because what they're going to say is based on how you made them feel.
Sure.
And you're going to make people feel a certain way based on what you just said. Like, what are your core values of who you are really?
Right. And how, like, in the moment are you really to be able to be in tune with that and remember that, like, and have it, listed out. Like,
right.
So when you have these values, like when you're very in tune with what you're about, like integrity, right? Are you honest?
Right.
Is that really important?
And you got to be honest with yourself.
Right. And, what does do the right thing mean? Right? What are these things? Like, what does being a servant mean to you?
Well, yeah, it's not being a people pleaser.
No.
I fell into that trap.
We all have.
Right. Human condition.
For sure. Because you start seeing responses and you like that response.
Well, yeah, it's now social media makes that even more. Like, how many likes can I get? Well, that's an old school real life version of getting a like.
It is, and it's constant reinforcement. You know what I mean? But what it can do is allow you to drift farther away from your values, because you don't have a ton of people wearing everything on their sleeve on Facebook.
Right.
Okay, they're showing you what they want you to see. They
it's
want
the highlight
it's
reel,
the perception. Baby. That's exactly right. It's ESPN, baby. So it is like that, though. Like, but you really have to get in line with that. So the easiest way to do that is to really just, think about, like, what would people say at my funeral? What would people say, like, at the end of the day, what's the lasting impression? What did you bring to this world? What were your contributions?
Yep, I love that, man, because that really will get to exactly what we're trying to get you to think of right now. If you just play that scenario out in your mind.
And we're here to engage, right? And if we are able to be in the moment and detach, like we talked about, and we're going to do a follow-up to detachment freedom, like, run that back, because,
there's more to that.
Oh, and it helps you find, if anything, with that detachment is allowed room to get in touch with my values.
Yep.
What am I really about? Next step, am I living it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you part the clouds and clear the clutter, you might have room to dive into this, because folks are naturally going to start going like, wow, how do I take that on? Well, one, it's not Goliath. It's one step at a time.
Man.
And don't find ways not to do it. Find ways to do it.
Exactly.
Right? Here's how I can come up with my value proposition. Here's when I can do it. Here's how I can do all that. What am I about? Like, it's really easy to think like, man, if I can't move this mountain today, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to spend any time on it. I'm not going to do anything.
But what can I do today?
Well, it's that whole checklist thing, though. You know what I mean? Folks want to get stuff off of their plate, but they don't realize what they're really doing. They're shortchanging themselves.
Right.
Remember, I got to free up all this time to look at my phone.
Yeah.
I got to free up all this time to spend on social media and just scroll, right?
Yeah, man.
And every time you're doing that, you're just getting farther and farther away from really, what you may be about if you really uncovered everything.
Facts.
Man.
Big facts. Like that little, the screen time counter that your phone has. Like, if you haven't looked at that in a while, take a look at that.
Man.
Do a weekly check-in. What's your daily average?
Then the follow-up with that is, what do you do at that time? What did you do at that time before that?
Right. Yeah.
You got 6 hours of screen time. You dissect that. Let's say you spend an hour and a half scrolling through social media.
Right.
But you don't have time to work out?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to get in touch with your values?
Meal prep.
Whatever
it is, meditate.
Focus on commitments.
Yeah.
Maybe make a couple. Right? Like, because that's an hour and a half a day. You tell me that you can't find an extra couple commitments in there with an hour and a half a day? I mean, come on. And then this all kind of comes back to the whole value thing, you know? So, create values. What are you about? Know what they are. What's on your tombstone? Think about that if you're really trying to find a way to crack the iceberg, if you will, or just really start, getting started on this,
That's step one.
It is. Number 2, spend some time alone, reflecting without judgment. You have to be able to sit back and assess and be like, man, and you're going to use your values as your benchmark, right? Those are your guideposts to, like, when you're reflecting, You're reflecting through the lenses of your values.
Yeah, man.
Without beating yourself up.
Yep.
With knowing that you're going to make mistakes, and that's how we learn.
Right. And I think, at least for me, that's been one of the toughest things. And I think it is for a lot of people, because we have so much information available and coming at us, you know, to piggyback off the thing of the screen time. It's always accessible, but it's so hard to just sit in silence and just be alone with yourself.
Oh yeah.
Because your mind's gonna run wild, and like to your point, you're gonna start judging them, you. That little voice inside your head is gonna start playing tricks. But part of this process is sifting through all that. Like, you gotta go through all that to reach the grail, man.
Oh,
Like, you're not gonna find what we're after without putting in the reps.
from reflection. Right? Of like looking inward is what we're talking about.
Right.
Like, I mean, we talk about like spending time in strategy, right? Looking inward is that.
Yes.
How much time are you willing to commit week in and week out looking inward?
Right. I just did a video about work in as much as you work out.
Yeah.
I mean, the pendulum's got to swing both ways.
It'd be great, like from a discipline standpoint, if you could commit to that. And you know how easy it is to kind of go back and say you feel compelled to like right quote unquote wrong, right? Or something that you didn't handle appropriately.
Right.
Do you know how far it's going to go when you reach out to this person like, hey, you know, I just want to let you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of myself. You know, I would have loved to have done that differently and handled that differently.
Yes.
You know, so that's one side of it.
Immediately,
Oh, yeah.
a weight is lifted.
It is. But here's where we're really gonna, get you thinking, right? How about the time when they say, I don't even know what you're talking about?
Yeah. Mind blown.
Boom. And that's where these perception loops come in. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to be careful with how we reflect.
Yeah. Because you're
can't-
like,
it's-
you mean I carried that around all that time and you weren't even thinking about it?
Right.
Yeah. It's powerful when you can do that.
Oh, when you watch something grow wings and fly right out of your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But these things, you know, when you're reflecting from a good place, you're not necessarily, you find the value in the lesson. You're not getting
Yes.
caught up in like, hey, this person sees me a certain way. Like, no, you know what? If they really knew me, they know that I can grow from anything.
Yes, man. Everything that happens to me, I'm addicted to extracting the lesson from it. It's not good. It's not bad. What was I meant to learn from this?
Well, I tell
so
you,
that I
yeah.
can self-reflect without judgment.
That's it. You know, what makes me think of is like spending time in education versus entertainment.
Mm.
You know, that's the problem with the phone. It's like you feel like you need to be entertained all the time.
Right, but why?
But if you're reflecting, right, you're educating yourself on yourself. It's a worthy study.
Wow,
okay?
say that again.
Educating yourself on yourself.
Damn.
I mean, there's credence there. There's value there. There's validity there. You know, there's gold in them hills.
Yeah, man. How much better can you operate and adapt to your surroundings and the people in it if you are working on yourself to know yourself?
Oh, man.
I mean, that's huge.
It's been profound for me, you know, and by no means are any of us perfect.
Well,
And, you know, but what I'm saying is that the power's in the imperfections.
right.
And it's all about the set of lenses that you look at those through.
Yep.
You know, and when you're spending time and you're reflecting, and you really do need to get comfortable with being alone, getting comfortable in your own skin.
Gotta be.
Definitely something that will get you to discover more about yourself. You know, when you can educate yourself on yourself through the values that you set forth. Like, hey, this is what I'm about.
Yep.
And if it's not quite right, it's a living document. It's as
Yeah.
alive as long as you are.
Right.
You know, you can update it whenever you want, you know? So, I guess lastly, this is the biggest part. And you can't do it effectively without the first two, right? Choose to be excited about the journey and use grace as the vehicle.
That's huge, man.
Man,
Yeah, man,
vehicle for your excitement,
Right.
okay? Not so much like grace is going to get me to reflect. Yes, it will, right? But like being excited about something is when it's laced with grace.
Man, for real, that's the difference between getting up in the morning, excited to put your feet on the floor, or hitting snooze 2 more
That's it.
times. Like, what is it you're avoiding? Man, be excited about the process of self-reflection. And like you said, it's the journey.
Dude,
Man.
getting in line with your values,
Yeah.
right? Like finding out what those are about.
Well, you got to know that. Otherwise, what are you getting excited about?
Well, and that excitement, like folks, they want to be around that.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to tap into all of this,
Yep.
you're going to be a pleasure to be around. And folks are going to wonder like, hey,
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'll drink some of that.
Yeah, man.
Let me get down with some of that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, at the party at on my tombstone or whatever it is, man, I hope, I'm doing everything today to make sure that people are able to look back with a smile. Like, man, I appreciate that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And self-discovery, self-awareness is what this is really about. Here's the beauty in all of this. Only 5% of the population reaches self-actualization. So there's a lot of room in that sandbox to play around.
Right,
Okay,
come on in.
You want to find a way to stand out. You want to find a way to give yourself an advantage. You want to find a way to bet on yourself, discover who you are.
Yes.
Find out what you're about. Getting after it in a variety of ways and finding out what that means to you.
Takes practice.
It does. So here's a few calls to action, right? So list your values and create a mastermind panel of folks that represent those values. We got them up on our wall right here in the studio. You don't have to know these people. Okay, they could just be folks that, shined a light on you in some way.
Right.
Whether you read their book or they made, they were speaking and you really enjoyed it, or they have a documentary that wasn't even written by them about them that you really enjoyed.
Right. Something that opened your mind and got you excited.
Yeah, past, present, future. I mean, there's folks that are deceased that are up on the wall.
For sure.
But their legacy lives on.
Right, because they were able to do this.
Exactly. And that's straight out of Napoleon Hill. Okay, Think and Grow Rich. That's right in there.
Yes,
okay, and this mastermind panel was profound for Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
Okay, that's one of the first books that I really dove into and latched onto. And it took me 16 years after I read that book to put a mastermind panel up. Right, so don't wait that long.
Well, but better late than never.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But it's just. It's fun to play in these sandbox. When you're getting excited about stuff, you try new things, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, and you're detaching from things, which there again makes room for other things, So when you're creating this mastermind panel, there is no wrong answer, right? And sometimes people come, sometimes people go from that list, because you're going to evolve with it.
Yep.
You're going to make that mastermind panel. There again, list of your values. Who reminds you of this? Whether it's in your family, friends.
Exactly. Because that's a great segue into paying attention to who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely. The only I guess, but I'll add to that. Okay, is other birds eat from the same feeder. Okay, so you have to be really careful that you don't get on a high horse.
Oh yeah.
From the birds of a feather. Oh, I'm too good for you. No, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
You're not too good. Okay, you can still eat from the same feeder, but you have your own atmosphere. You have your own thing going, and that too shall pass, right?
Yeah, man.
But you're choosing to surround yourself with people that are going where you want to be.
Right. Get better, not one up.
That's right.
Get better.
It's like a tree, right? You're either growing or you're dying, right?
Yep.
No doubt about it. So pay attention to who you surround yourself with, especially if you're just getting started. Seek people out. We're not talking about eliminating people in your life.
No.
I think that's where a lot of people go with this. Oh, who do I have to cut out?
Yeah.
Nobody. Okay, it's who are you choosing to be intentional with your time with?
Yeah.
Very different than cutting people out of your life.
Yes,
who am I going to be intentional with my time with? Right? Think about it. Lastly, discover self-control. And your breath is the compass.
It is, man.
Breathing helps you slow down, helps you get back to center.
Control the heart.
And you don't end up thinking a certain thing or saying a certain thing or reacting a certain way that you end up getting in your head about because you just didn't slow down.
You're staying in control.
Oh man, the breathing piece is really good. There's real science behind it, folks. Do your own research on it. The power of 4 or 5 deep breaths that are very controlled is amazing. It's a great tool, and it's something that will allow you to make room for self-discovery. Take these things to heart. Run with them. Have fun with them.
Yeah, man.
The calls to actions are there. You're going to create a mastermind panel. There's no wrong answer. You're going to have fun with it. These folks you're going to be able to just let things ping around a little bit, but it's got to be from a good place.
That's the whole part of being excited about it.
Absolutely.
Have fun with it.
Discover who you are, take a deep dive, and have fun along the way. And we'll catch you next time. We're out. Want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.